You're listening to the Fast Intentions podcast. Now here are your hosts, Nathan and Todd.
Welcome back to Fast Intentions. As always, Nathan and I appreciate you choosing to join us and spend some of your day with us here at the old Fast Intentions podcast. We're going to talk a little about the Huskers, some NBA, a little NFL, Michigan sign stealing scandal, and we're going to talk about a big birthday celebration. But before we get into that, how you doing, Nathan?
Well, I don't know what birthday celebration we're talking about.
Well, you'll find out.
Oh, well, there you go. But I'm not doing too bad.
Good.
It was an easy day at work.
Nice.
I had to get my license exam for my insurance job.
For your new insurance career?
Yeah. So I've been working like 8 to 5. 8 to 10 they gave us to study. And then they have to give us a 3-hour time-taking window. So, but I finished at like 10:45. And he had to sit there and grade it. And then he said, "Oh, you passed." And then we didn't have to be back till 2 because the test was 10 to 1. And then they're required to give us an hour lunch afterwards. So I had till 2 p.m. to just do whatever. So I came back home for a bit, hung out with Stella for 2 hours. Then I went back, and then we finished our lessons at 4 instead of 5, and I went home. So pretty easy.
Nice. Well, Halloween's coming up next week, actually a week from today as we record here on Tuesday night. You a big Halloween person? Do you go out and party, celebrate?
No.
Anything like that?
I'm not a big party celebrate person. I've kind of realized I'm social, but like I'm not like I could be like casually social, but I'm not like wanting to like go out and like do stuff.
Not big into dressing up with you.
Oh, hell no.
Hanging out with your friends and that kind of stuff.
There's a memo at my job that says, "Oh, we can dress up for Halloween," but I ain't gonna do that. They say you can wear jeans though, so I'm wearing jeans and like a hoodie. So
what? Dressing up as a casual man, I guess.
Yeah, I'm not one to be out there like that in public. Unless I'm with my friends. I'll be stupid with my friends, but I'm not gonna like wear some stupid ass outfit either. Even with my friends, I wouldn't do that. But I'll be more goofy and obnoxious with them. So.
Oh yeah, I've contemplated going out to deliver mail as Elvis Presley maybe or something like that. There's the Bed Bath & Beyond on my route closed, and now it's like a big Halloween store. So I walk in there every once in a while, and they just have so much stuff in there. I'm sure I could find any kind of costume I want.
It's one of those spirit Halloweens that pop up everywhere.
Yes, it's just huge. So as we record here, we have on the Fast Intention monitors, it's the opening of the NBA season. So we're watching the defending champion Nuggets take on the Lakers on one monitor, and the champs are up by 14 here in the second. And then on the other channel, we have the NALCS, which is just in the bottom of the first. And the Diamondbacks have a 1-0 lead currently. So
we definitely need to fix this situation because I face away from both monitors.
Well, I'll keep you updated.
And they're not Fast Intentions branded monitors. They're just monitors in the Fast Intention studios, by the way, in case you were wondering.
There you go.
The Fast Intention monitors.
But I kind of feel like the way the series has unfolded, all the pressure is now on the Phillies. It seemed like they were the hot team, kind of had it all rolling, and things were going well. And then, the spunky Diamondbacks just kind of won a game. You thought, well, okay. And then they won 2 games. You thought, well, they'll go back to Philly and they'll win. And they did. And then now the Diamondbacks came back and won pretty impressively yesterday, 5-1. And now they already scored in the first inning. So every inning that goes by with the Diamondbacks ahead, the pressure's just going to ramp up a little bit on the Phillies. So we'll see how they respond.
Well, this is not going down 3-0 after the first, like the Astros did yesterday.
Yeah.
And then I think it was the 4th inning. They got like 6 runs or whatever.
Yeah, that was impressive. The Rangers just kind of took that game over and never looked back. And we'll start here. How about the performance of Adolis Garcia for the Rangers, man? They could not get that guy out.
He's a beast.
He was. Let's see. Last night he went 4 for 5 with 2 homers and 5 RBIs. And he established a new franchise record for runs driven in during a single postseason with 20. And he also posted a 1.293 OPS. And anything over 1,000 is pretty dang good. So he had gone homered in 4 straight games. And he had 5 round trippers in the series against the Astros. And that was tied for the second most in a single series in playoff history. So, I mean, you're talking going all the way back through playoff history. So, I mean, quite the accomplishment. So,
and if you didn't figure it out, he won the ALCS MVP.
As well, he should have.
Well, one of my nuggets is about Adolis Garcia, so I may as well just share it now. He's the first player in MLB history to have 1 RBI in 6 straight games in the same series. So, like the same 7-game series, first player to have 6 games in a row with having an RBI.
Yeah, he was just super impressive. I mean, every time he was up to bat, they just, and coming in, they're gonna say, okay, well, this didn't work this time, so let's try to pitch him this way, and he was hitting everything. I mean, and it wasn't just like bloop singles here, bloop singles there. He was crushing the ball. I mean, he was dead on everything they threw at him. So,
and then I don't know. I got on you that one time talking about baseball cliches with the Dodgers always losing. About how, the Dodgers do it all the time. Well, in this instance, I mean, the Astros didn't play that bad offensively. You would have liked Javier to get out of the first inning. But at the same time, guys like Corey Seager, guys like Adolis Garcia, obviously, with the stats, they were just hot. They're just a hot team right now, kicking ass. Because I know, shout out our man Glenn, too, for picking their...
Hey, Glenn, hope you're listening.
Picking the Rangers during the World Series, which we kind of made fun of. Because then they were really hot for a while, and then they got really cold. And you're like, well, they had their streak.
They had their run. It's kind of over.
Yeah, but now they're hot again, so it kind of happens that way. And then the Astros are always good. They're in the ALCS for 7 years in a row.
Mm-hmm.
So they bring it, and there's a reason why they're there. But unfortunately, the Rangers were just kind of the better team at the point. And they're all upset about what's his face getting suspended. And then
the pitcher.
Yeah, but I can't even think of his name right now. But then it didn't even end up mattering because their starting pitcher couldn't give them shit, and they were already down like 8. So it wouldn't have mattered to begin with.
Yeah.
So,
well, for the Astros fans, I'm sorry to see your season end, and we'll bang the trash can slowly for you.
It's Brian Abreu too, by the way.
Oh, okay.
And that was a good joke.
Thank you.
I
appreciate that.
Yeah,
appreciate that.
But no, Jose Altuve still did this thing.
He did. He that homer he hit in the 9th the other night just crushed the Rangers. I mean, a lot of teams that would have just put them down and out, but the Rangers just kind of threw it aside and said, well, we still think we're the better team, and we just got to come back and prove it. And they did. They won on the road. I think they said the road team won every game in that series.
It did. So, it's just like the World Series 2019. When the Nationals won, that was every road team won that series. They said the Astros they lost 21 out of 29 home games in the last 2 postseasons or whatever it is, and it's just crazy how you could be so bad at home, but then so good on the road because they even won the World Series.
Yeah.
So I mean, with that bad of a home split, I mean, it's pretty crazy. But what I was going to say, I know we talked about Jose cheating and whatever, but he's building himself quite a resume of clutch moments too.
Well,
the one with Chapman against the Yankees 4 years ago.
Yeah, he's had quite the career, but I was having this argument with somebody online the other day. I said,
with the Twitter trolls.
Well, I can't remember if it was on Twitter or it might have been on Facebook or something, but somebody's posting about how Jose Altuve was just hit that homer and didn't show up, showboat, blah blah. I go, well, that's because he knows, and no matter what he does the rest of his career, he's going to be associated with the cheating scandal. And he's going to always have that stink or stench or whatever you want to call it on him, no matter what he does going forward. And some people like me are going to see his accomplishments, but I'm still going to just go back to, well, you cheated to win.
Well, was he the driving force behind that?
Well, he was one of the players, and they go back to that video where he's hit that homer in that series, and as he's coming around, he's holding on to his jersey, and you could say, "Don't rip off my shirt," because they think he had a microphone taped to his chest underneath there.
They think that's not proven.
So well, it seems pretty obvious because a couple guys admitted that they did cheat, and the whole team kind of was in on it. So, I mean, they kind of went back, and after the fact, they kind of cut the sound and could listen for the banging of the trash cans and stuff. So,
well, that was definitely a thing, but they didn't say all players were necessarily aware of what was going on there.
Well, of course they're going to say that.
That's a lot of hypotheticals too. So Jose Altuve is a good baseball player.
Well, he is, but like I said, I mean, he's still going to be associated with the cheating scandal no matter what he does going forward. So,
well, okay, well, I see a good transition here. But
okay,
we still have to talk about. This is episode number 28.
It is.
So we got to talk about famous players who wore number 28.
All right.
As a reoccurring segment every episode.
Yes.
Did you see what kind of transition I wanted to do there? Scandal? No? Okay.
Number 20 is scandalous.
No, I meant the Michigan thing, but okay.
We can get to that.
Well, that's what I meant. It would have been good, but then we want to do this. Number 1 athlete to wear number 28, Cristiano Ronaldo.
Okay. The real football.
I don't know how to say that team name or what team it is, but apparently he wore number 28.
Okay.
So that's pretty good competition right there. Adrian Peterson.
Very good. Minnesota Vikings out of Oklahoma.
Darryl Green.
Hall of Fame. He was on the smaller side defensive back, but went up against some of the tallest receivers and held his own at the time he played.
Curtis Martin.
Curtis Martin, good player out of Pittsburgh, played mostly for the Jets.
Buster Posey.
Good baseball player.
Marshall Faulk.
Marshall Faulk, yeah.
Fred Taylor.
Wanted to come to Nebraska, but Nebraska wanted to make him a defensive back, and so he wanted to play running back, so he went to San Diego State.
I feel like there's always a lot of good stories with that.
Mm-hmm.
Fred Taylor.
Jacksonville.
Nolan Arenado.
Couple 3 years, Fred Taylor's probably one of the top backs in the NFL. Nolan Arenado, all-star third baseman.
So that's a couple times I thought you were done. You kept going.
That's all right.
Chris Johnson,
the running back.
Steve Duchenne. He's a defenseman in hockey. He played for the Red Wings.
Oh, okay.
You can tell how much we love hockey around
Mm-hmm.
here. Darren Woodson. Darren Woodson, sorry.
Darren Woodson.
I said his name
Cowboys.
Vita Blue.
Vita Blue.
Did I say Vita? What the hell's wrong with me?
Pitched for the A's, most notably. He did pitch for the Royals a couple years.
Kenny Lofton apparently wore 28, but they show him in a photo with the Rangers wearing number 7.
Kenny Lofton was mostly known for playing with the Indians, now known as the Guardians.
But did say he wore that number with the Indians.
Okay.
So
I did think of Warrick Dunn. Is Warrick Dunn in there?
He's number 15.
Oh, okay.
Before him is Dave Justice.
David Justice.
And we'll just call it. Oh, Adrian Gonzalez, shout out, former Red Sox. Gaylord Perry.
Master of the Spitball.
I don't know any of these other people too well, so we'll just ignore it.
Okay.
I don't know. I thought Ronaldo wore like a single-digit number. Does he wear 28?
I don't know. I don't follow that sport that closely.
What number did Ronaldo wear?
Centennial Radio
Talk 7.
Here. 7. Well, maybe he played 4 times.
And there's a photo of him wearing 9. So we'll go with. I will vote for Adrian Peterson, even though he likes the. I'm not going to make that joke, sorry, but he does some bad things. Or you want to go with Marshall Faulk? I like Marshall Faulk.
Well, he had a good career with the Rams and the Colts, and like I said, he had a chance to become a Nebraska Cornhusker.
So he had the chance to. We'll give him the benefit.
They smartly want to make a defensive back out of him, which apparently wasn't the best idea. So
yeah, and plus Adrian Peterson's a Viking, so yeah, let's vote for. I vote for Marshall Faulk.
All right, we'll go with that.
Okay, there you go.
All right.
So I turn to look at the.
Do you want to transition into your Michigan thing now?
No, let's talk about Nebraska first.
All right, we'll talk about
because I can transition Nebraska into the.
Well, we're going to transition into Big Ten football then. Generally speaking.
Kind of, but we're going to start with Nebraska.
Well, Big Ten football.
We're going to talk about Nebraska specifically.
Okay. That are in the Big Ten.
Okay.
And play football.
Stop talking about Big Ten football. We're talking about Nebraska here. Who plays Big Ten football? Nebraska beat Northwestern 17-9. As I wrote down, another one of the ugliest games I've ever watched. Because first play from scrimmage, Harbaugh throws an interception. Second play from scrimmage, Northwestern almost throws an interception. Oh, wait, no, did they fumble? I think they almost threw an interception, then they almost fumbled, like 3 plays in a row. Because I posted it on Facebook. I said, man, those are the 2 worst plays ever. They could have been 2 turnovers. And then I think they ever almost do a pick or they fumbled a snap. And I go, oh, my God, that's 3 plays in a row. It was a big mess to start off. Nebraska's offense looks like Nikes. But we'll get to this in a second. They got a crap ton of injuries. So I don't know how I want to take this because they look really bad. The defense looks good. Defense looks good every week except against Michigan. We'll talk about that later. But, yeah, the offense is just out of sync. These injuries are a thing. But in the back of my mind, seeing how bad they play and how many times they turn the ball over, just thinking they're actually winning some of these games. If this was like 2 years ago, we'd lose all of these. So the fact that there's still like close games that we're winning when we're playing terribly, obviously it's against Indiana and it's against Northwestern. It's not like we're doing this against like Ohio State and pulling out a win, but it just feels good to actually be like winning a few games. There's 5 games left and we have 4 wins.
Yeah.
And Purdue doesn't look that great. Michigan State doesn't look that great. Iowa's banged up. Wisconsin's banged up. Maryland will probably be tough. We won't beat Maryland. There's no way we can stop Tagovailoa.
Ooh, somebody's been practicing.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's Tulua or Tulua. I don't know how to say his first name or how it's pronounced. But that offense is too. Dixie's Midnight Runners.
Avoa.
But their offense is too potent going up and down the field. There's no way we're going to be able to keep up with them. So, but the other games, 6 wins, it seems like a okay possibility.
Yeah, there's nobody really in the Big Ten West who stands out as elite. I mean, Iowa, they probably have as good of a defense as Nebraska, but their offense is still really shoddy. And
isn't McNamara out for the year?
Yeah. And they have trouble moving the ball, and it's just, Illinois wasn't that good, even though they played Wisconsin tough this week, and Wisconsin's been up down. We played Purdue this week, and they've been up and down roller coaster. They're 2-5.
Michigan State just got their butts kicked by Michigan.
Yeah, and Michigan State might just have given up by the time Nebraska rolls in there. They didn't. In fact, they were too excited to play this last week.
Are they they're in the East though, right?
Yeah.
Minnesota's in the West, but they don't look that good either.
Yeah, that loss at Minnesota's looking a little more rough as the season goes forward. But you mentioned the injuries, and we'll get to that a little bit more in depth. But this is the right time of the schedule to have them. Because really the competition you have coming in isn't the elite of the elite, and you can have a subpar performance, on offense, and still pull these games out. Luckily the defense has stepped up when it had to. The opening drive at Illinois, when Illinois drove all the way down, you thought, oh boy, this is going to be a long night. But they stiffened up, shut them down on fourth and goal, third and goal, right? And then momentum all changed, and they struggled last week offensively, but the defense kept them in there, and they gave up a few plays, but Nebraska hustled. They ran guys down from behind and made sure they didn't score, and then the defense stepped up and forced a field goal, and just small plays that might normally go unnoticed. This year Nebraska's making those plays. The guys are hustling. They're staying after it. They're swarming to the ball. And so Tony White's, he's got the defense playing real well. They went to a 5-man line this week out of the 3-3-5 because they thought Northwestern might try to run it more than they did. And Northwestern actually tried to throw it more, which was kind of weird. But, it's just, the injuries are nuts. But I do have some worry about the offense. They're not really potent, but after a bye week, Harbaugh seemed like he kind of regressed a little bit. Usually on a bye week, they say that's when you self-scout. You kind of look at your team and see what your strengths and weaknesses are and work on those. And, well, apparently Harbaugh skipped those self-scout meetings or something. Finally at the end of the first half, he put together a decent drive, and he played a little bit better in the second half, and then made a nice play to get that touchdown to Malachi Coleman on an option pass that apparently Matt Rule said they'd been talking to Coach Osborne and Ron Brown about it, and Coach Osborne's the one that told me, you can run that option, but you need to run the option pass, off of that, and Matt Rule said when they got the ball at that, the part of the field, they said, well, what the hell, let's call it and go for it, and then Malachi ran his guy and scored his first ever touchdown. So
yeah, Matt Rule said he turned around and pointed at Osborne's box.
Yeah.
After that play.
Yeah. So yeah, the defense is good enough to keep them in, the games against these lesser teams. So
they got to stay on the field long enough to not tire them out. Because that was the thing against Colorado. They looked good that first half, but Sims turned the ball over every play. So then by the second half, they had no chance.
Omaha's Alec Baum just hit a bomb. Tied up 1-1, bottom of the second. First homer of the series.
Alec Baum hit a bomb.
Yes, bomb. Omaha's home. Woohoo! You know who that's going to be happy about that?
Who?
The Philly captain. Got my Philly captain reference in this episode.
Fuck me. I hope the D-backs win, so we don't talk about him no more.
Wow.
Shout out to Philly captain, piece of shit. What?
So Tony White, yeah, he's got to be the coach of the year for the Huskers. I mean, Matt Rule's doing a good job, but yeah, Tony White. And that's one thing we liked about the 3-3-5 is even though it's set up as a 3-3-5, it's very multiple and you can adjust it to different looks, depending on, by the way, Alec Baum, number 28. You can adjust it based on what, kind of scheme or plan you want to run against the other team. So it's even though it's 3-3-5, it's multiple. You can bring the linebackers up and, you can bring your DBs up to a linebacker position. And Northwestern doesn't have much of a dynamic offense either. So I don't think Nebraska was really afraid of them going deep or going over the top of them either. I'm just as I'm sure Northwestern wasn't worried about that either. So as far as Nebraska went, so.
All right, we're back. Sorry, I thought my mom was.
Where were we gone?
Yeah, we were gone.
Oh.
If you didn't realize it was like an awkward transition there. Sorry, I'm out of breath. I just walked up the stairs. Whew. You're going to hear me breathing in this episode. Sorry to all the people that complain about that. I thought my mom was like, she needed something because she like yelled. But she just yelled to close the windows because she has the air on. So. Whew. I don't know why I'm out of breath.
Because you ran up the stairs.
I did.
Instead of walking at a slow pace like you usually do.
Well, I'm a big guy, so. Now I'm about to go into a big win talking about Matt Rule's weekly press conference. Shout out 24/7 Huskers. They always do a little, just a quick summary, notes of the.
Shout out!
Of the press conference, so I'm just going to read some of the stuff they said.
Okay.
So, updates from Matt Rule. This isn't all of them. Ethan Piper, Turner Corcoran are both out for the season. 2 more offensive linemen.
Yes.
Noeli is going to be out for 2 weeks.
I heard that.
How do you say his first name? Do you know?
Noeli, I believe. Noeli.
Okay. Well, another offensive lineman. He's out for a few weeks. Tommy Hill is going to be day-to-day. Safety. Or corner.
With Billy Kemp out, he's been the return man, so that's going to be interesting to see who they put back there now.
Well, Billy Kemp is out for multiple weeks.
Yes.
And he's one of our more dynamic players on offense that doesn't get the ball a whole lot.
Well, Matt Rule said he was supposed to be a big part of the game plan against Northwestern this week, and then when he got injured in the second quarter, that threw a lot of that out the window.
Well, it's not like they were doing much with the ball before then.
True.
Nick Heinrich has been banged up, but he said he's been playing banged up. So I don't know what that means exactly. But Ben Scott is expected to play.
Good news.
So
starting center.
One fucking offensive lineman's going to play.
Yeah.
He says the running back room will continue to be by committee pending a week of practice and good ball security. So until someone can prove that they're working hard and that they can hang on to that ball, it's just going to be a big rotation.
Well, this last week, Johnson was the main man. He played like 60% of the snaps.
Which crazy.
So.
Even the commentators were talking about Anthony Grant. They think he could be really big. He could be one of the best backs in the Big Ten, but it's just
definitely.
It's just the ball security is so bad, and you can't even hit the field. It's crazy.
Yep.
So,
I think it's more of a mental thing now with him than just anything. He just needs to go out and play.
Yeah.
Because guys were saying on the radio that they seem like he's not running as fast because he's more concerned about ball security than just actually getting into the hole and making people miss. So.
Well, that's a hard thing after a while. If something gets in your head like that, it's hard to get it out.
Definitely.
It's like Ben Simmons playing basketball, make an NBA reference. Man really struggled, and it's hard to get it out of his head. So I hope for a big season from him this year.
It's like seeing a fat man naked.
It's like me running up the stairs. Ooh.
Naked?
Okay. And then they're talking about so they said all but 2 guys this week are going to be underclassmen playing. So I think this is, it's obviously not good, but this is going to be the young recruit guys that are going to be building up in the program.
Well, as far as offensive line, the guys that are stepping in have experience playing. Prohaska and the guy with the hyphenated name, I can't think of it now, it's something Jenkins. And then Lutowski, they've all played, they've regular subs and what have you. And Prohaska was the starter last year until he got injured, and they've been trying to bring him back slowly. So I'm less concerned about the injuries on the line than I am like the receiving room. And
that was weak already.
Yeah, and then running backs any more, issues there. So
Yeah. Well, also this is a chance, pending, transfers, everything. If the lowerclassmen are playing, if they show something, hopefully that's a sign of things to come.
Well, they have that new rule where you can play up to 4 games without it counting against your eligibility. So I think they've done a pretty good job of spreading those players out and playing them when, it's mostly needed. So I assume Malachi Coleman's going to probably lose a year because they're not going to pull him after 4 games. I mean, I don't know if he's already played over 4 games or not, but he's going to be an integral part of this going forward, especially if, Kemp's out for any more than a couple weeks.
He's got a lot of talent. There's a reason he was 4 stars.
Mm-hmm.
And then they were talking about NFL scouts and like what they look for in players.
Mm-hmm.
Well, apparently one scout said Nebraska is the second hardest practicing team he's ever seen in college football, or that he's seen like this year, I think. And he said only Georgia practiced harder than them. And Matt Rule made the comment that says, "We'll catch them." So, good to know that they're working hard out there and they're not just hanging around doing nothing.
Well, as we talked about, I think at the start of the season, when we were talking about expectations, some of this is just it's like with Grant, it's just a mental thing, getting over the hurdle, and they're going to have a game. And the Northwestern game was a little bit like this, and the Illinois game, they were ahead most of the game. But they just need to have some, this point of adversity where they finally, instead of choking, they come through and, no matter, it doesn't have to be like a domination or anything, but they just somehow end up winning that game. Mm-hmm. And that just breaking that mindset's, and that's what Rule's working on too, you can tell. But just, that's why they talk about new culture. That's the new culture he's trying to establish, is just get a new mindset for this team. And just needs one of those moments where, it'll go their way instead of against them. And I think everything will really kind of break free and kind of open up for them.
If we die, we die.
That too.
Well, it's kind of poetic too. It started off with the Minnesota game,
mm-hmm.
like where that happened.
Yes.
They choked it.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like, okay, well, Matt Rule, this is where you're starting at. Let's see where you go from here. So it kind of summed up the whole program in one thing. Matt Rule's like, fuck, this is what I got to fix. Okay, let's do it. So we'll see. It's got to be a game where they're beating someone really good and they're about to blow it, but they got to make like a big stop at the end. So it's got to be almost a choke, but not a choke in which they face the adversity. You get what I'm trying to say? It's not like they come back and win, because everyone can do that. I feel like they need a game where they're about to be on the cusp of blowing it, and then they finally hold on and make the last stop,
mm-hmm.
and it's like a big thing.
Yeah.
So.
Let me ask you, do you think Jeff Sims is going to see the field again if Harburg's healthy going forward?
I mean, Harburg would have to play pretty bad, I think.
He played pretty bad this last week.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
And Satterfield said they didn't even consider bringing Sims in.
See, because I know people don't want to say this or hear this, but Sims tangibly is the better quarterback by far. We've said it multiple times.
Mm-hmm.
The ceiling with Jeff Sims gets a lot higher, but the floor gets a lot lower because it just depends on how ball security is.
It's a tri-level.
Yeah, but Harburg's threw a bad pick. He threw a couple picks, I think.
If they were houses, Sims would be a tri-level, and Harburg's probably more like a ranch style.
Sure, whatever. No, but Harburg threw a couple picks. He even dropped a snap, too.
Yes.
Like he just missed it. So it's the same thing.
And that's just basic concentration. So I don't know if he was too busy trying to read defense or what. But, I mean, you got to catch the ball to make any play work. So
no, but Sims is so dynamic with his feet. And you can even see he has a pretty spiral when he throws it. Like he has because Harburg's got that sidearm thing.
It's pretty when he throws it to the other team, too. That's the problem.
Yeah. Well, I guess it kind of depends, too. We're not in the locker room. We don't know kind of the camaraderie.
He seems like he's a good teammate, though. You see him on the sideline, and he's always talking to Harburg and congratulating him. And yeah.
Well, I think so, too. But even they had that documentary where they had that Matt Rule speech, and Jeff Sims was talking to the team afterwards. He seems like a well-spoken kid, like he means well, and that he has the talent. I would like to see Sims back in there, but kind of at the time, how do you earn that trust back from Matt Rule? Because he had enough trust to leave him in there for the second half of Colorado. People were saying pull him then. But they let him. Then he got hurt and let Harburg in. But apparently Harburg's done enough for Rule to keep with him. I think it has to get pretty bad for him to want to turn to Sims again.
Yeah.
But who knows? He may have to if all our offensive weapons are going to keep going down now for the year.
Well, it'll be interesting to see if he gets in and maybe – because you remember the first game against Minnesota where they – put Harburg in and they kind of threw a pass to him and he ran. I'd be interested to see if they do something like that with Sims going forward, or they just leave him on the sidelines.
And there's so many injuries, you don't think they could like convert him into something?
Well, I don't. He probably doesn't want to be converted. I mean,
They already did that with Fleeks.
Yeah, you haven't seen much out of Purdy though, even though Matt Rule talks him up pretty good at practice. I mean, but
he didn't look too good when he played.
Yeah, so I think maybe they just want to have him in reserve in case they need a backup quarterback and not risk him so much. But we'll see going forward. I mean,
well, all I know is we'll probably be transferring in another quarterback because they probably don't want Sims.
Well, yeah, they have a couple recruits, but I don't think any of the new recruits in are going to be enough to play as freshmen.
Yeah, that Bellevue West kid.
Yeah, Kalen. But you never know. We'll see.
So, yeah. So that's my opinion on the Sims thing. I would be okay with him putting him in. But, yeah, if it turns real bad, you kind of got to give him a short leash. All right, you had your chance. Get out of here. But
yeah, having him and Grant in the same backfield, that's kind of, you're asking for it there.
Well, that's what happened against Minnesota.
Yep.
Okay, well, the big thing about Big Ten football, because we're talking about Big Ten football, is the Michigan sign-stealing scandal. Have you read about this?
Somewhat, yes.
Okay, well, I went to a nice ESPN article, and I took some information from it.
Okay.
So do you know kind of like the basis of what is going on?
Yes.
So there's a certain staffer for Michigan that's kind of the subject of all of this, who's suspended with pay currently by Michigan.
Oh, tough.
Yeah, I know, what a tough man. He's got to sit at home and get paid. His name's Connor Stallions, I think is how you say it.
Okay.
It looks like Stallions, so I'm going to say it that way. He's the suspended staffer. Let me turn the page of my notes and get to the information that I wrote down.
All right.
So, he had purchased Big Ten football tickets, in his own name, by the way.
It's his own credit card.
For more than 30 games over the last 3 years at 11 Big Ten schools. So, I don't know if this guy was hired by Harbaugh, probably. So
he has said no something.
Well, Harbaugh says he doesn't know anything about
Oh,
this.
of course.
Obviously.
He's gonna say that.
But then again, you can't guarantee that he knows his staffer's going. But if they're playing on the same Saturdays, wouldn't they know that man's not there? Like what? But actually, that's not true because there's other people going to those games for him to take video. Okay, but apparently there's evidence of electronics prohibited by the NCAA to steal signs, and there's a significant paper trail that exists, which I'm assuming is him buying the tickets. Because they also have information that he's been forwarding tickets to 3 different people in different areas of the country. So he has different people he's sending the tickets to, and then they'll go and sit to the game. The school says that some schools say they have surveillance of the seats, and that the person that's sitting in there, you can clearly see them holding a smartphone, aiming it at the home team's bench area. And then they said all these tickets are the same pattern. There's one ticket on each side of the sidelines, and they're all at the 45-yard line and just high enough that you can look over and see the bench.
Nice.
So, ironically, it's kind of weird. Well,
that's a weird coincidence.
Yeah, maybe buying tickets for your friends, but one on each side, right at the 50-yard line.
Hey, you want to go to the game with me? But I don't want to sit next to you.
Yeah. So, and then he had tickets to the Ohio State and Penn State game that happened this week, but no one showed up. To claim those spots that they can't
Interesting.
Look and see. And
now that the story broke, nobody showed up for that game.
So, I mean, you can't really put judgment on anyone technically until there's some information, but this guy definitely seems to be doing something fishy.
Well, and then, okay, he's a staffer. Well, unless he's one of the elite coaches, you usually don't make that much. So how's he affording to pay for all these tickets? And these are good seats in big-time college football atmospheres at big-time college football stadiums. And those tickets aren't going to be cheap, even if you buy in a single.
Yeah. So, well, we don't know anything about that yet. So we don't know who to play judgment on, but there's definitely someone from Michigan trying to do something. And there's video from them playing Ohio State last year, and you can see footage of the Stallions guy on the sidelines standing next to the defensive coordinator, and then they would look over to the signs, and then he would, say something to the defensive coordinator, oh, they're doing this. And then the comment back on Matt Rule actually commented on the sign stealing scandal. He said, sign stealing is common. You can read the other signals from the other sidelines, and then you do they read your signals, they read your signals. It's kind of they read, you read, is what I'm trying to say. So it's kind of common, and then he's saying this is just another reason why we should get microphones and helmets for college, because they don't have that in college. He said this, you go to an NFL game, you see technology. You go to a high school game, you see technology. You go to a college game, there's nothing. So I think that's a pretty reasonable. Yes, sign stealing is a part of the game, but maybe you shouldn't be recording people from the stands.
I think a smartphone in the stands is technology.
Well, he's saying, like...
I know what he's saying.
He's talking about helmets.
Yes,
but then he didn't comment anything about Michigan because he says he doesn't have the information, so he can't pass judgment. But he's saying, sign stealing is kind of natural for like if you're looking over there and you see they hold up this photo of SpongeBob, and every time they hold up the photo of SpongeBob, they do a slant pass or something. I don't know, but so that's common. But you shouldn't be filming it, having an algorithm to figure out and decipher it for you, and then stand there and talk to they're doing this, they're doing this, they're doing that. So. But like I said, this is all speculation currently. Nothing's been confirmed by the NCAA. We don't know. Because, I guess Jim Harbaugh could have no idea what's going on. I doubt John knows what's going on because he's coaching the Ravens.
Yeah,
but
he sucks.
But, so.
Oh, I'm sure it's a whole big process. And Michigan better be looking into it. And the NCAA's looking into it. And I'm sure the Big Ten's looking into it. And besides Matt Rule, I know other coaches in the Big Ten have made reference to it where they said they have known it's been going on. So
we'll see.
Yes. More to come in a future episode.
Oh, and by the way, off topic, did you see the Purdue coach was talking about how much he hates the N on the Nebraska helmets?
Yeah.
So that's some good motivation.
Sure.
Because he grew up a Colorado fan, he said. So he doesn't like Nebraska.
I saw that.
Oh, I'm getting a bunch of NBA fantasy notifications. All my guys are healthy, so that's good. I only got Kevin Durant going tonight. You said you only have Yusuf Nurkic?
Yeah, I have one guy in the Vegas game later. Okay. So.
Well, do you want to talk NFL or do you want to talk? I got a bunch of NBA stuff to talk about.
Well, we'll save the NBA. We'll just stick with the football motif. So what's on your mind is regarding the NFL?
I don't have a whole lot about the NFL, honestly, but I didn't know if you want to talk about any games. The main thing was that it was kind of a crazy-ass week. Teams.
I will give you my fantasy note of the week. If you don't have him on your team and you're able to acquire him, go out and get yourself T.J. Hawkinson. He's like Travis Kelce light. He's obviously one of the main reads for Cousins, and he's got great hands. He can get open. He can fend defenders off, and going forward, he's going to be a great asset. So my fantasy tip is if you can get T.J. Hawkinson on your team, I would suggest you do it.
Wasn't he like the third-ranked tight end?
I don't know where he was ranked at the beginning of the season.
I think he's probably taking him out. Gerald Edwards available on ours. He's been scoring a lot for Los Angeles. I would recommend him. Fucking Jackson Smith and Jigba finally scored.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Well,
I dropped Quentin Johnston. I just can't have
DK Metcalf is injured and isn't playing, and he might be out next week too, unfortunately.
Man, I'm pissed about the Postal League though. Mahomes had like 52 points, and that was the week I had CeeDee Lamb, T. Higgins, Adam Thielen, Chuba Hubbard, Tony Pollard all on bye. So, and then I have A-Chain and James Conner on IR. So I picked up Zach Evans, and I had that Keontae Ingram for the Cardinals. Well, I picked up Zach Evans and put him in there, and then they said, oh, he's actually not the starter anymore. And then Ingram did nothing. And then I picked up Jeff Wilson because he just came back. He had like one catch for 4 yards. So, and then I couldn't make any more moves for the week, so I was stuck with those three running backs. They got me a combined 0.4 or 1.4 because Jeff Wilson caught the ball, and then I only lost by like 20 when Mahomes had 52. So if I got anything from anyone, I could have beat fucking Barney out of all people. His team sucks. And then I lost to Steve in the other league. It was 1-5, and my team didn't do nothing. So that's my fantasy bitching for now.
That's a weekly segment.
No, but yeah, when you have to start three running backs to get you 0 points. I mean, you can't really do much about that.
It can be frustrating.
Yeah, so they got me a combined 1.4 points, and then Keenan Allen and Dotson didn't do shit. Okay, but that's enough of that. But yes, it was a wild week in the NFL. A lot of upsets, I would say. The Patriots beat the Bills. Mm-hmm. After the Mac Jones and the offense looked like complete doo-doo dog poop the last 2 weeks, averaging 3 points a game.
Well, I'm sure Bill Belichick chewed some ass this week. And, Buffalo, a few injuries on defense, and it obviously showed. And Allen has those games where he's just not himself, and he uncharacteristically turns the ball over a little bit more than normal. And that's what happened, and that's what leads to those kind of upsets.
The Colts and the Browns had a battle of the backups.
Yeah, that was
that went
a wild
down to
game.
the wire.
Yeah.
Where the Colts kind of got screwed. People are arguing about those pass interference calls, but the Browns almost bailed them out with 3 terrible play calls before they finally ran the ball with Kareem Hunt. Because there was like 30 seconds left, and they had no timeout, so they didn't want to run it and then have to worry about it. But they had 3 terrible throws with P.J. walking. I'm just like, run the ball once. And sure enough, they ran it on 4th down. Kareem Hunt scored. The Bears and the Raiders also had a battle of the backup quarterbacks, and the Bears kicked the Raiders' ass.
Yeah, the Raiders are deep doo-doo.
Upset, I think, for most people, Steelers beating the Rams. Your Steelers looking good.
Well, it's kind of like Nebraska. The defense leads the way, and they can keep Pittsburgh in the game enough where the offense finds a little bit of a footing. And surprisingly, the Pittsburgh ran pretty well on the Rams. And last 2 touchdowns, Jalen Warren had a real nice run, and then Najee had a nice 8-yard run for a touchdown. And then defense did what they had to survive. So.
Yeah, it's kind of at the point where you just expect the Steelers to do something like this every year. I don't know why people don't expect it because Mike Tomlin's there. Mike Tomlin always has his guys playing hard every year.
Well, they just play to the level of the competition. Teams you think they should beat, they struggle with and don't usually win. And then teams like this where you think, well, they're a little bit over their heads and they play very well. So,
as much fault as like a coach can have, there's a reason why he's never had a losing season. There's obviously something there.
Yeah.
So, the biggest upset, I think, was the Ravens kicking the shit out of the Lions.
Yeah, the Lions just didn't show up. Lamar threw the ball pretty well, which is unusual for him. And
well, not unusual. He's just a little inconsistent sometimes.
He's very inconsistent.
He has a lot. He has glimpses where you can throw the ball.
So, but yeah, that's just one of those things where the game just kind of snowballed on the Lions, and they got behind and just never could catch up. So.
The Packers look terrible against the Broncos.
Yeah, Jordan Love looks like he's struggling with a lot of his game, so it'll be interesting to see what they do going forward.
They still said they have a lot of faith in him.
Well, of course.
You can see the potential there. Like the first 2 weeks, he looked really good, but it's also hard. Green Bay is a big trash can full of injuries. It's hard being a Nebraska fan and a Green Bay fan right now because both offenses look like crap and their whole team's in the hospital. So that was just a big mess over there. But yeah, they didn't look good at all. We'll see. Jordan Love's got to. This is kind of his year to prove it, and if they don't prove it, they may just move on because otherwise they're gonna have to. I think he's just extended for this year or maybe next year because I don't know if they're gonna want to offer him an 8-year deal if he's not gonna look good. So this is kind of his chance. So we'll see there. The Eagles. Okay, we'll skip the Eagles for now. The Vikings beat the 49ers. Another big upset
last night. Yeah.
So.
Well, 49ers just, turned the ball over and missed a field goal and just, kept the Vikings alive. And those teams just kind of flourish. You keep them around. They make a couple plays. Addison ripped the ball away from the defender after the defender ripped it away from him early in the game and went for, 60-yard touchdown right before half. And that just kind of changed all the momentum of the game. And the Vikings defense played pretty well. And Purdy wasn't on his game, so.
Yeah, first 2 games were Purdy kind of looks like a young quarterback. He's been really good the first few games. So, and then the biggest thing, the Eagles looked very, very, very good against the Dolphins after the offense looked kind of strugglers for the first 2 weeks. So my question to you is, did the Eagles establish themselves as the front runners in the NFL? Especially the way the 49ers kind of looked like it, but they've been struggling over the last 2 games.
No, well, I think the Eagles are having some issues of their own. Hurts isn't quite the same as last year. Teams have kind of caught up to most of what they want to do, except for the tush push. Maybe they should just run that every play. But even though San Francisco struggled, I would say in the end, I still think San Francisco will come out of the NFL.
Hurts
NFC side.
Hurts and what he did last night didn't do enough for you?
Well, it was just one game. I mean, anybody can have a one good game, and see how they do going forward. Devonta Smith's been kind of absent ever since A.J. Brown went and said he wants to be more involved. Well, he has been, but Devonta hasn't been there. Dallas Goedert's been playing super well. He's probably top 4 or 5 tight end in fantasy right now, and if the line plays well and the defense plays well, Eagles have a good team. I mean, they're defending NFC champs, but got to see.
All right. Well, you mentioned it earlier about the tush push.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see they trademarked for the brotherly shove?
No, I did not.
Which I thought was very clever.
Yeah, I've heard it called that, so, yeah.
Okay. But anyways, there was a Twitter thread I saw, and I thought this would be kind of fun to go through. This is from @FrankMikeSmith, is who made this.
Okay.
If the NFL decides to ban the tush push, it would enter a highly exclusive club, the NFL's banned plays. And he has a list of them.
Okay.
Would you like to hear these?
Are they the plays or the names of the plays?
Well, it talks about the plays.
Okay.
I don't know if they all have a specific name. The penalty clock drainage. Everybody holds until the clock expires. Kind of genius, but the NFL fixed it. Today, the game clock will be reset to where it was at the snap. So if you've seen on, like, punts, like, they're grabbing to run around the end zone, and all the offensive line will just hold them because they'll throw a flag and it's an offensive penalty, and so the game will just end. Well, apparently they fixed that, so it'll go back to where it was. So that's the first one. The Deacon Jones head slap. So when he'd rush, he'd slap him so they'd blink and he could get by him.
Yep.
He said it's his favorite. Jumping the line. Credit Troy Polamalu, but it's illegal to touch a player when jumping over the line of scrimmage now. So you can't. It's a leverage call. Like, made Josh McDaniels do that stupid play call the other week against the Steelers. So, and then Myles Garrett just did it the other day. He did it yesterday. That big ass dude jumping over someone, Jesus Christ. And did you see the Nick Bosa? They're showing the video of Nick Bosa warming up, and he had like the big tight thing on. He was running around with those muscles. And they go, "There's no way that man's not on steroids. He's a freak of a man." I thought that was kind of funny. The fumble Rooski.
Yeah.
Illegal to fumble the ball forward and have another player recover the ball. Nebraska had a pretty famous fumble Rooski.
They had several.
Punching the ball. Player may not bat or punch a loose ball in the field of play towards the opponent's goal line. This was ruled long. What they show Troy Polamalu doing it.
Well,
and getting away with it one game.
The first time I remember that was the play they called the Holy Roller, where the Raiders, when they were Oakland, were playing San Diego, and Dave Casper was on a fumble, and he was like kind of stumbling forward, and was kind of knocking the ball forward for several yards, and then finally fell on it in the end zone for a touchdown. And they said he just did that on purpose to score a touchdown. So that was the first occurrence I can remember of that going back. That was in the 70s, probably 77 maybe.
The first big one was I remember watching on Monday night. I think I was probably in high school. Was when the Seahawks, I think it was Earl Jones. He smacked it out of the back of the end zone against the Lions, and then they were all pissed they didn't call it because it's illegal. I think it was Earl Jones. That sounds right, but that's the first time I remember it. The Belichickian time wasting is the next one. It's where the punter takes the delay of game where the clock runs, and then he'll do it again, runs it, and then they'll do like a false start. So, because if you do it too many times, it'll be a 15-yard penalty. But Belichick did it against the Jets that one week. Yeah. And then, because you see the clip where he's kind of smirking while he was doing it. But then Mike Vrabel did it against him in the playoffs that year, and he was super pissed about it. Because that was Tom Brady's last game as a Patriot. I remember that. Blocking field goals from the end zone. The Chiefs used to put up 6'10" more Stroud in front of the post to swat kicks away. So when kicks them, you just dink. So can't do that anymore.
That seems pretty smart.
And then an honorable mention, this isn't the NFL, the fake slide. The NCAA banned Kenny Pickett's fake slide. He's gone on record to say it was completely improvised and he didn't mean to do it. So, badass play, by the way, when he does it. He just goes, and then keeps running. It's clean as hell when he does it.
Well, it is, but I mean, you put the defense at a big disadvantage because, if you hit them late, that's another 15 yards. And so, of course, they're going to pull up. So it's really, it's smart on his part, but it's really just not really fair to the defensive players because they just.
Especially with all the rules about hitting guys in the head and whatever.
Yeah, there's no defense to it as a defensive player, I guess. But
so that's if the tush push decides to get canceled, or not get canceled, it gets a banned. They could get canceled
abolished
too. So, do you think they should ban the play or?
I don't really have an opinion on it one way or another. I mean, the Eagles run it better than anybody else because I've seen other teams try it and they don't seem to have as much success as the Eagles do.
Exactly. So
of course, having an all-star center doesn't hurt. So
that's true. Yeah, I don't think they should ban it. I think it's kind of creative. But I thought that was just a fun thread I saw on Twitter. So that's all the NFL stuff I had.
Okay.
Do you have any NFL stuff?
I don't.
Oh, okay. Well, man, the Packers look like shit. That's the last thing I'll say.
Hard-hitting take there.
I know. So
and that's coming from the owner.
Yeah, I know, one of the owners, man. I was team not draft Jordan Love when it happened. But I'm a big supporter of him. I hope he's successful because he seems like a great kid, but he's struggling right now. Offense isn't helping him out, but yeah, he has a few bad picks. Like, why are you throwing that?
Well, as tonight's the opening of the NBA season, you want to get into your NBA talk as you have it noted there?
Yeah, I have a huge list. It even goes to the back page.
Oh boy!
So we want to talk about this stuff. We don't have to talk about everything in depth, but.
Okay.
I want to mention a few things. First thing, Shams Charania?
Well, hold on. Let's go to the microphones here. We're going to join our NBA correspondent, Nathan Farrell, out in the field. Hey, Nathan, this is Todd. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Hi, Todd.
Hey, what's going on out there? I know the NBA is opening tonight. I know you're excited about it. You got any notes or nuggets for us about the NBA?
We got a lot of shit about it.
Well, let's enlighten the folks. What do you got?
Thank you for that weird field report. First note, Steven Adams is out for the year. He had season-ending surgery. So
Tough luck.
That's all you got to say about Steven Adams?
Well, it's tough luck. I mean,
Aquaman himself.
You practice all year to get ready, and then before the season starts, boop,
and
you're done.
He was injured last year, too, so we wish him a speedy recovery. Hopefully he'll be back. Shams Charania said this a few days ago. He reported that there's a significant gap in a contract extension between Klay Thompson and the Golden State Warriors, and signs are pointing towards him being a free agent next year.
Interesting
to see if Klay Thompson would go somewhere else. Still, definitely a valuable asset to a team, but he's maybe not a 20-point reliant scorer anymore.
Well, the Warriors on the backside of their championship teams. I mean, they're good, but I don't think they're championship worthy, and they're getting older, and so eventually they have to turn over some of those parts. And they got to decide between him and Curry, and I assume they're gonna probably choose to stick with Curry, over Klay.
Well, I think Curry still has a lot of years left.
Yeah, I think they probably signed him to a major deal, but
he's making $50 million a year.
But yeah, you got to infuse some younger players into that lineup, and they're just kind of teetering right now where they're good enough where they don't get a great pick in the draft, but they're not good enough to really win it anymore. So,
well, we'll talk about that here in a sec when we talk about my predictions for the year. Okay. But this was the deadline for rookie extensions was 2 days ago, 3 days ago. I'm not sure, but all the rookie extensions were finalized. So here are the guys that got some extensions. You ready?
Okay.
If you probably won't know any of these players, but if you have anything to say, let me know. Jaden McDaniels signed a 5-year, $136 million contract extension with the Minnesota Timberwolves.
Woo!
He's a forward. He plays really good defense. His offense is kind of yet to be established well into the season, but there's definitely a good player for the Timberwolves. And now they have Karl Anthony Towns, and they have Rudy Gobert. They got a lot of money built in that team. Anthony Edwards now.
They need to do something this year.
Well, I don't know how high the ceiling is going to be.
Well, that's true.
They could probably be good luck probably to succeed.
There'll probably be stretches of the year where they might be one of the best teams in the NBA, and then be stretches where they won't be quite such a good team.
Well, you kind of thought by the idea Cat and Rudy Gobert could work because Rudy's more of a down in the paint, and Cat likes to play out near the three-point line, but it just kind of doesn't. With those two big-ass guys, it's kind of hard to.
They kind of like get in each other's way. I mean, they're so big; they both take up big parts of the court, and it's just hard for the other guys to maneuver around them.
Yeah, but Anthony Edwards is going to be a beast, so hopefully you'll help that out. Zeke Naji signs a 4-year, $32 million extension with the Denver Nuggets. You can probably see him playing out there. He's a backup.
Okay.
So, very
Gotta
good.
have those.
Yes, with Bruce Brown leaving and Jeff Green leaving for the Nuggets, that's kind of a big hole there. Bruce Brown played great in the playoffs, so they kind of need a guy to come off that second unit and be successful for him. And hopefully Zeke Naji will be that guy. They obviously have faith in him. They signed him to a 4-year extension. Oh, and it's not on here, but Payton Pritchard signed that 4-year extension with the Celtics, by the way. Like Fast PP is my man. That's his nickname. Zach Collins signed a 2-year, $35 million extension with the Spurs. Veteran center. Played with the Trailblazers for a while. Yep. Denny Avdia signed a 4-year, $55 million extension with the Washington Wizards. He was a lottery pick 4 years ago. Shown some glimpses. And now especially that whole Wizard team's wide open without Bradley Beal or anyone there. So Jordan Poole's going to be taking a lot of shots. Kuzma's still there. But
Phillies with a gapper. Double. Bomb comes around to score. 2-1 Phillies, bottom of the fourth.
Another bomb for bomb.
Well, it wasn't a bomb. He just scored.
But that's a bomb at home.
It is. Omaha Roncalli product.
Yeah. Aaron Nesmith, 3-year, $33 million extension with the Pacers.
Okay.
Kind of logjam with the Celtics when he was there. Traded for Malcolm Brogdon. He's a good three-point shooter if he's on the court, so hopefully he'll continue to be good for them. Cole Anthony, son of Greg Anthony, if you didn't know that.
Oh, okay.
He signed a 3-year, $39 million extension with the Magic. So another point guard that can come off the bench and score for them. Josh Green, he's a really good shooter for the Mavericks. He'll help space out, especially for Kyrie to dribbling around doing everything. He signed a 3-year, $41 million extension with the Mavericks. And Onyeka Okongwu signed a 4-year, $62 million extension with the Atlanta Hawks. So young center, got him on good value. So, and then notable rookie extensions that did not happen, if you want to hear about those. Sadiq Bey for Atlanta did not get his extension. Emmanuel Quickly for the Knicks. He's a good player, but he's also in potential trade rumors for one Joel Embiid if he ever decides to request a trade. Patrick Williams for the Bulls. A lot of potential 4th overall pick. Hasn't really turned in enough in yet. This is kind of his year to show it. If they're ever going to want to sign him to extension and have him. Obi Toppin for Indiana. He was kind of logged behind the Knicks for a while. And then Precious Achiuwa for Toronto. Well, I think he's kind of a serviceable center for them. So with the Miami Heat first. But the biggest extension that happened, did you see Giannis Antetokounmpo sign an extension with the Milwaukee Bucks? 3 years, $186 million.
And he felt a sense of loyalty to stick with him. So it's nice to see that's a refreshing attitude in this day and age. So
well, in fairness, he did seem kind of bent. But then when your team trades for Damian Lillard to help you win a title, I mean, you're kind of like, well, I may as well stay. They're helping me.
Well, Kevin Durant didn't feel that way last year when Brooklyn tried that.
Well, that's because Kyrie signed with him, the best friends. Oh, let's play together. Oh, James Harden wants to come join us, may as well. And then James Harden's hurt. And he's like, I don't like being the second option. I want to be the main guy. And then Kyrie's like, I'm gonna go sit on the side of the street and protest instead of play basketball. Even though I think that's admirable, but he's not really committed to basketball. So Kevin Durant's just there by himself with all these scrubs trying to do something. And eventually when everyone left, he's like, all right, let me go. I want to compete for a title. That's what I came here to do. All my friends left me, so I'm going to leave too. So Kevin Durant, the Golden State thing, that'll always be on the back of his, like, well, he had to go join the Warriors. But he meant right by going to Brooklyn, trying to do it himself, and all his friends left, so I don't blame the poor guy. But anyways, Giannis signed the extension. Player option for 2027, 2028. Committed. My question is he going to be a Buck for life?
If they can afford him.
Well, I think no matter what happens, to get rid of anyone to keep Giannis around.
I
don't think we'll be like, oh, sorry, Giannis, we gave enough money to Chris Middleton, we can't have you around.
Well, you think Milwaukee's out in the middle of Wisconsin. I mean, it's not the hotbed of an NBA, but because of him and, what they've done, it's an NBA town. It's on the map now, and it's nice to see that he's willing to stay there and not, a lot of these players want to go to New York or L.A., where the big bucks are and get the exposure. Miami. But, I mean, if you're a star player, you're going to, based on the new rules and cap exceptions and all that stuff, you can make the most money with the team that drafted you originally. And so, yeah, I mean, it's about the money, but, it's loyalty too. I mean, once you get to a certain amount of money, a little $5, $10, $50 million difference here or there, I don't think really makes that much difference.
Well, he's going to be making $62 million a year with this contract, so
that's pretty good.
He'll be pretty set. No, I think he'll be there for the rest of his career. Him and Jokic seem like the kind of guys that are like, yeah, we're okay being here.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I guess if Giannis really wants to, if he wanted to go somewhere and compete for a championship, but he has the opportunity to do it now, and he already has one. So, I mean, at the end of the day, he knows this is where he's at. So, like Steph Curry, he has no reason to go anywhere because he's been, that's to the extreme because he had a whole dynasty there. But he goes, I've been here, I've won, I've done everything. Like, why would I leave?
Mm-hmm.
One day can just be loyal to me. So, it kind of depends. A guy like Karl Anthony Towns, who's a very good basketball player, stuck with Minnesota the rest of his career. He's like, well, I kind of want to win. Damian Lillard himself, he was completely loyal. But then at some point, they tried to build with him, couldn't do it. They break down. Tried to build with him, break down. Now they're completely rebuilding. He's like, all right, I think it's time for me to go. So eventually, it kind of gets to that point. But
yeah,
I think Giannis, with the championship already won, I think this seems like a for-life situation. Hopefully, Jason Tatum will be the same thing. As you know, I always got to convert it back to my team at the end.
Yes, you do.
So then, Oh, before I do that, I have a tweet. I'm going to make my NBA season prediction now.
Okay.
I doubt you have a season prediction you want to do for basketball.
Don't.
But would you like to hear the odds for NBA title?
Well, if I say no, that's going to ruin your segment, right?
But would you like to hear it?
Sure.
Okay. Can you guess who had the lowest odds?
The best odds?
No, who has the lowest odds of winning?
Oh,
It's kind of unfair because there's like a 8-way tie.
maybe the Pelicans?
The Pelicans are pretty high. They're going to be pretty good this year.
That was just a shot at your sister.
Oh, okay. Well, they were the 1 seed last year until Zion got hurt and never came back. No, but there's like 8 teams tied for last, so that's kind of unfair to you. The Blazers, the Wizards, the Hornets, the Jazz, the Magic, the Spurs, the Rockets, and the Pistons all tied for last.
Mm.
And then, but anyways, the 2 teams are tied for first. This is according to Shams Charania from FanDuel Sportsbook is where this is from. The Celtics and the Bucks are tied, plus 380. Chance to win the NBA title. Nuggets and Suns are tied for 550, right behind. And then the Lakers are plus 1,300, and the Warriors are plus 1,400. Followed by the Cavaliers and the Grizzlies tied at 2,400. So that's kind of the top there. Notable ones, Clippers plus 2,700, tied with the 76ers. Heat are plus 3,000. Knicks are plus 46. The Kings are plus 5,000. Pelicans 42, if you care. Mavericks plus 25. Kyrie and Luka didn't make the playoffs last year, but they had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 best odds on here. So, interesting stuff.
Be interesting to see how it all shakes out.
All right. I was wondering, you don't have much to say, so.
Well, it'll change depending on, injuries and trades and
Well, of course,
all
but
that stuff going forward.
I just want to make sure you weren't going to say anything before I continued on.
Oh, no.
So I'm going to make my predictions pretty short because I'm the only one that really talks basketball here, and I don't want my poor dad to have to sit here and suffer. But
Too late.
This is important stuff for people to know.
Okay.
My contenders. So these are the guys I have listed as contenders in the NBA this year. Guys that I think can realistically win the championship. I only have 2 out east. It's going to be the Boston Celtics and the Milwaukee Bucks. Those are going to be the 2 guys racing the whole year. It's going to come down to those 2. Will Jimmy Butler make an appearance in the playoffs? Probably. So that's always back there. But they lost a lot of pieces in the offseason, and they didn't really address any of them. They just lost and they didn't gain. But at the trade deadline, they didn't do crap last year when everyone thought they had to, and then they went to the finals. So, at the end of the day, who are we to judge the Miami Heat? Because you can't really... But on paper, they're never going to be good. They're always just kind of there. But then they just perform well, so... But I don't think they're true contenders. We'll see. They'll probably come back to bite me. Philadelphia, now with James Harden deciding he doesn't want to play, he's just going to be sitting around doing nothing because he's just a big baby.
Soap opera.
So, poor Joe Embiid. He'll probably request a trade eventually, I think. But Cavaliers, really fun. They're going to be behind. Knicks, also going to be kind of fun. But are they true contenders? Probably not. Those are kind of the next 3, I think. Or next 4, in my opinion. Philadelphia, Miami, Cleveland, and Knicks. So, but they're not contenders. Only the Celtics and the Bucks are in the East. My contenders in the West, defending champion Denver Nuggets. Of course, you got to throw them in there. They're defending champs for a reason. And then they may have the best starting 5 with Jamal Murray, KCP, Aaron Gordon. Who am I missing? Michael Porter Jr. and Jokic. Even though I think the Celtics give them a run for their money. The only big issue for them is the bench as well. Christian Brown played really well for them. Bruce Brown was a big part of them winning a championship. He was just a good role player that did everything for him, but he's gone. Jeff Green, their veteran leadership's gone. So who's going to fill in that role? They got some young people. They got, like we said, Zeke Naji just signed an extension. So their biggest question mark is going to be who's going to step up for them. Kind of the same thing for the Suns, who also I have as a contender. They have their big 3 with... They have their big 3 with Devin Booker, Bradley Beal, and Kevin Durant. The only big thing for them is depth as well. That was their big issue last year. They didn't really have a whole lot of depth to go besides those guys. They did bring in like Yusuf Nurkic with the DeAndre Ayton trade. That's kind of a downgrade. But they have Eric Gordon off the bench. They have Grayson Allen. Drew Eubanks, Nazir Little's going to play. Didn't they sign Yuta Watanabe too? Yeah, they did. Josh Okogie's going to start for them. So their big thing is going to be health. Are they going to be able to stay healthy? Because you got to be healthy to compete. If one of those 3 guys are out, that kind of just limits their odds. And then it just depends on if that bench is going to give them anything. One team, though, I hate saying this because everyone always talks about them, but they're annoying. The Lakers are going to be really good this year. This is their most complete roster since they won their championship. Well, since the year after. Because they kind of overreacted when they were the 7th seed because LeBron and AD were hurt that whole year, and then they lost to the Suns because AD was hurt again. I think if they just kind of kept that team together and ran it back, they'd be better. But no, they traded everyone that was valuable and traded for Westbrook, who didn't fit with them. So that's kind of a big mess. But they brought in Christian Wood. They got Cam Reddish. They have Torian Prince. They still have Rui Hachimura. They brought in a Gabe Vincent. They re-signed Austin Reeves. And then they had that Jalen Hood-Schifino, who they drafted, who's also kind of highly guarded. So they finally have some role player pieces around their team. But another question mark with this team, guess what it is?
Depth.
No, I think they have better depth than most teams. Health. If Anthony Davis is going to be hurt, if LeBron James is going to be hurt for an extended period of time, they're not going to do anything. So it's all going to come down to Anthony Davis being healthy and being the player that we know he can be. Maybe not the top 5 that we always expected him to be and that he never did, but just like a top 20 player. If he plays at that all-star level, I think they have a good chance to do something. And then the last team, you said they weren't contenders anymore, but I have the Warriors on there because you can never count out the Golden State Warriors.
Well, I mean, they're contenders, but the odds of them winning a title again are very, very remote, I would say.
I would not say very, very remote. I like them less than the other 3. You can't count on Steph Curry in the playoffs. Klay Thompson's been there. Draymond Green's been there. Andrew Wiggins plays really well. They still have Kevon Looney, very good rebounder, plays very well in the playoffs. They brought in Chris Paul, that's more experience, another veteran guy. But it's going to depend on the young people that we expected to take the jump last year, but they didn't do it. Jonathan Kuminga is the big guy. This is his year to make that big jump. Hopefully, if he's a consistent scorer for them, you don't have to have Klay Thompson be that 20-point scorer that he isn't really anymore, that you expect him to be. So if he's able to be big for them, that experience with Golden State, you can't count him out. So those are my 6 realistic contenders for the year and my prediction. Can you guess what my prediction is?
Do they wear green?
Yes, they do. Celtics over the Nuggets in the finals. I predicted this last year. It's going to happen again this year. The Nuggets, they just have such a good starting lineup. There's too much camaraderie, all that loyalty. I think loyalty. But just the experience of them being there. They've done it before. The team works together. Jokic is one of the most unselfish players in basketball. Jamal Murray is such a big playoff performer. Michael Porter Jr. can make big shots. KCP stepped up really well. That Christian Brown for them played really well. And then Aaron Gordon's just a good defensive guy. He's a great role player for them. I think they just have too much talent. And then, like I said, the Suns' health and depth kind of concerns me. Golden State, I don't think – I agree with you. I don't think they're as complete of a team as good as the other ones. He's always kind of got to give them you got to give them the – what's the word? You got to give them the benefit of the doubt. Yes, the benefit of the doubt because they're so experienced and they've won so much. And then I do like the Lakers a lot. I'm kind of tempted to pick the Lakers, but – and then I got to pick the Celtics over the Bucks just because it's the Celtics.
Of course.
But it's definitely going to be – I can see that Eastern Conference Finals like a 7-game series. That would be really good. Maybe better than the actual finals. But I got Boston over Denver. I'd say 7 games. And I didn't do the whole – I'm not doing 8 seeds and doing that whole fucking bracket. I'll do that when the playoffs start. So, cool. I got to ramble about the NBA for like 25 minutes. So that was great. You know how I feel when you talk about college football sometimes.
No.
Even though I do have Saturdays off now, so I can watch it now.
No.
So, cool. Feels good to talk basketball. I'm excited it's back. We drafted our fantasy basketball teams.
We did.
You feel good about your team?
Yeah, mostly.
Mostly? What do you don't like about it?
I'm kind of short on the big men, but it's the way it goes. I've kind of more emphasized the guards and the small forwards and players that had a little versatility to them. I could play them in several positions, and I did draft Zion, so he'll kind of make or break my team. If he's injury riddled again this year, that's going to really hurt me. But
well, I will say,
I'm not the biggest basketball fan, and I just do this more for fun. I'd like to try to win, but the odds are not that good because I'm just not that well versed on the players after the top stars are gone. I just don't know those backups so well.
It's okay. It's fantasy. You always have a chance.
Mm-hmm.
But I did the same thing. I drafted a lot of forwards. My first 4 picks were like forwards. And then I had no centers after a while. So I ended up with Jalen Durant, who I like. Maybe not as my first center. And then Robert Williams was very good. But he may be playing like the 4 this year for Portland. So that'd be kind of weird. And then, well, actually, I think he'll probably be center because I think DeAndre Ayton said he wants to play the 4. He says more naturally a 4, whatever that means. But he's hurt a lot, so that's kind of. And then I have Zubac, he only plays like 20 minutes a game, but hopefully he gets like 15 rebounds when he does it.
Yeah, I had him a couple times.
So yeah. All right. Oh, and by the way, I didn't say this. The World Series will have started by the next time we record.
Mm-hmm.
If we look now, Phillies up 2-1 in the top of the 5th. But we don't know. This will come out Thursday, so we'll know who's in the World Series by then.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't know currently.
Well, hopefully this game's still not going on by then.
No, I don't think it will.
But
that'll be a long-ass game.
The Rangers are the host team, so whoever wins this game will travel to Arlington.
So my predictions for the World Series. If the Phillies make it to the World Series, I have them over the Rangers in 6 games. If the Rangers win, I have them over the Diamondbacks in 6 games. I mean, if the D-backs win, I have the Rangers over them in 6 games. That's what I meant to say. So those are my predictions.
Very nice.
We've been rambling enough already, so I think it's time to get the boosters ready.
Well,
Unless
okay.
you have something else.
Well, I'll make it a nugget. We can make it a nugget, but you go ahead.
Well, I think I know what you're talking about because that was going to be one of my nuggets, but I think you already have it. So.
Well, that was going to be more of a main topic, but that's all right.
Well, okay, let's talk about it now.
Okay.
Turn the ignition off.
Stall the launch. Oh, Diamondbacks the base hit. The game's tied.
There you go.
Top of the 5th.
All right, let's talk about it.
Had a big birthday this week.
Happy birthday!
Memorial Stadium turned 100 years old this week. Nebraska wore their little special jerseys to commemorate that. I know we talked about it originally when they were released. And honestly, on TV, you can't really tell much as far as the differences, but they outlined the numbers in blue, and they had the motto of the stadium on the sleeves. But based on the performance, they might not want to wear them too many more times. But I just wanted to ask you, do you recall your first ever game at Memorial Stadium? And if so, is that your favorite memory? And if not, do you have a favorite memory from Memorial Stadium?
To be honest, I haven't been to Memorial Stadium a whole lot.
Well, do you remember what your first game was?
Didn't we go see Texas Tech play?
Mm-hmm.
I think it was like 48-14 or something. 42-14. I think it was like that. So I don't remember crap about that game or who was playing for them. I think Sue was playing for him. Because I think when we went by, there was like, the car had like Hi Suman on like the like hashtag Hi Suman on there. I remember that, and then we ate at some restaurant. I don't know. I remember that more than like the actual game because the game was so bad. But because I remember you saying, oh, they run the ball a lot, so it's probably gonna be a quick game. Or you said they throw the ball a lot, it's gonna be a long game. It was one of the two. I don't remember.
Texas Tech back then, the air raid. So yeah, they threw the ball a lot.
Yeah, that's what you said. It'll probably be a long game because of that. So no, and I'm trying to think. I don't know if I've ever been to another home game there. Oh, I guess I do have a favorite memory. I guess in middle school, we got to go to the spring game on like a Saturday, and that's when the Team Jack kid ran that long touchdown with the whole team. I was there
Jack
for
Hoffman?
that. Yeah, I was there for that. So that was probably the best memory I saw. Because I don't think I've seen another game there. We'll talk about this in a sec. I was there for the volleyball day in Nebraska when they had the 92,000 people there.
Yeah.
So that was kind of cool. And then I went to the Michigan game this year where they got their ass kicked. So.
Yeah, I remember I was out car shopping with Barb, and I didn't get to see much of it. And you were texting me like, "Hey, we scored!" So I'm like, "Oh, okay." So Nebraska not getting shut eye more. So.
Yeah, that was nice. No one's there. We were next to some Michigan guys, and I stood up and we did the whole "Go Huskies!" We did the whole thing, and they were just like rolling their eyes, like, "Hey, we scored!" Because some guy behind us, like I think some Nebraska guys, they're like, "Can we leave?" He goes, "No, we can't leave. The comeback could be starting any minute now." So I remember when we scored, I yelled, "The comeback started!" But there was like 6 minutes left, and we were down 42.
Yeah, I think you mentioned it on a previous episode.
Oh, well, there you go. You heard the story again. Yeah. So
Well,
I don't have any fond memories really.
Oh, okay.
Except Ian Arunza, that's pretty good. So.
Well, my first ever game was actually, I didn't go to an actual Nebraska game, even though I was a huge fan, until after I graduated high school. And I believe my first game was in '85, and I saw Nebraska play Illinois, who's now a Big Ten rival, but back then they were just a non-conference opponent.
Yeah.
I don't remember the score, but Nebraska won pretty handily. And I can remember specifically a play where Danny Noonan, was an All-American guard, or middle guard, nose tackle, as some people call it. He pushed the center back into the quarterback who got pushed back into the running back as he was trying to as the quarterback was trying to hand him the ball, and Danny Noonan basically just effed up the whole play, and then the running back ended up getting the ball, but took like a 4-yard loss because the other guys came in and dropped him, and it was just such an incredible play. He's just a big and dominant player. It was just amazing to see him do that. I've been to quite a few games at Memorial Stadium. Not so much often. You know, we like to travel to the road games and experience the road atmosphere and see the road stadiums, and that will lead to one of my nuggets here in a little bit. But one memory I have, and it wasn't. I wouldn't say it wasn't my favorite memory, but I went to a game with your mom, and the Diamondbacks just took the 3-2 lead. Going to the bottom of the fifth. I went to a game with your mom, and like right after the second half started, a thunder and lightning storm moved in, and it started raining really heavy. Well, your mom and I had tickets, and we were in the very last row on the north end, and everybody was trying to get down the stairs to go underneath the concourse to get out of the rain and what have you. And I don't know if you know the rule, but every time a lightning strike happens, they delayed the game 30 minutes. So then they start the clock. Well, then if another lightning strike happens, they reset the clock to 30 minutes. So basically your mom and I just said, well, we're just not going to be able to get down to get out of this. So we just sat there. We both had coats on. So we just pulled our coats over our heads and just sat there and just took it. And we just got soaked for like 30, 40 minutes till finally the storm moved past and, they resumed the game. And then we had to drive back because we had a birthday party to meet everybody here back in Omaha. So I can recall having a few clothes in the car and a couple blankets. So I basically stripped down to my skivvies and threw a blanket over me, and that's how I drove back to Omaha. And I know we walked in the restaurant, everybody was looking at us because our hair was just soaking wet and our clothes were damp and stuff. And people are like, "What the hell happened to you?" So that's a memory that sticks out to me. Saw several losses there. I saw him lose to Colorado, and we saw him lose Iowa. Actually, you and I saw him lose Iowa State when they fumbled a bunch of times. And
was I there for that?
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Because we went like 2 weeks in a row. Because I think we went to the Texas Tech game, and then we went again next week to Iowa State. But I was trying to think about it, before the show, like what my favorite memory is, and I don't know. I think just being in the stadium, with you, I've been there with my friends, and just experiencing the atmosphere together. And I guess my favorite memory would just be taking in the tunnel walk. That's a big part of the tradition there, and everybody gets hyped and people start clapping when Sirius is playing, and it builds up to a fever pitch. And then when you see the team ready to come out, it just gives you some chills and makes your hair stand on end a little bit. So that's probably my favorite memory, just, the tunnel walks and all the excitement, from those. So
really, I don't remember being at the Iowa State game at all.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you were there. Because I know I was there, and I don't think I remember who else I took with me. I know you and I went to see Nebraska play Kansas down in Lawrence one year, and Kansas just kicked the bejeebus out of them. It was like 71 to
72,
35 or
like
something.
72 to 38, I think.
Yeah, so
76-38, maybe.
Yeah, we went with your Uncle Greg. So
yeah. You didn't take Emma to the Iowa State game?
I took Emma to a game. I don't think it was Iowa State game, and I don't remember Grace. But I tried to take all you guys to a game, but your sisters didn't really care for it, so I don't think they ever gone back.
Yeah,
but
because I was writing down the games I feel I've been, like just Nebraska games I've been to. So Nebraska versus Texas Tech, Nebraska versus Kansas, Nebraska versus Iowa. That's probably the best game we saw when they came back and won. That was Bo Pelini's last game.
And the interesting story is, they have the second quarter wave at the hospital. The hospital was still being built when we were there.
Yeah, I remember that.
So,
Nebraska versus Oklahoma, we went a few years ago. Nebraska versus Rutgers just the other year. And then I went to Nebraska versus Michigan, and I went to the spring game. And then apparently I went to the Iowa State game that I don't remember at all.
I'm pretty sure that was you. I think it was because we went like 2 weeks in a row or something like that.
I just remember the Texas Tech one. So
okay,
maybe I went to an Iowa State game. I don't know. But I've only been to Memorial State like 2 times, 3 times for like a game. 4 times I guess I've been there. Maybe 5.
Well, happy birthday to Memorial Stadium, built in 23, and it's undergone many changes and revamps, and
I'm gonna go under another one.
They got another plan to make it more of a bowl shape, which I think is the right way. I never understood the the way they built out the end zone and didn't connect it to everything else out there. They just kind of like it was its own separate piece, not really fit in with the rest of the stadium. Because basically, if you ever seen the horseshoe at Ohio State, Memorial Stadium is basically the same layout. They just didn't put the ends on it for whatever reason. It's probably more money or time or effort or whatever. And they've made changes over the years. They built the field house. They put, stadium C on the south side and the north side. But like I said, it just looked like a bunch. I love Memorial Stadium because that's where my team plays. But the stadium itself was just like a hodgepodge of sections just kind of thrown together. Like, hey, I didn't have all the Legos for this set, but I had some pieces from this set, so I'll use those to build this up. So it just kind of looks like a big erector set. It's not the most aesthetically pleasing stadium, but hopefully this will change that, and
Well, I went to the Nebraska-Michigan game, like I said, like 5 times now. But when I went, we went in the wrong entrance because it was supposed to be on the south side, and we were in the east side. And then we had to, scan our tickets to leave. And then because, there's no sign that says, go over here to get in the south entrance. They had, a special gate. They said, only for these people. But, my tickets didn't specify which gate you go through. So I'm like, is this the south side? The guy at the thing was like, I don't know. I said, we'll just go in here and figure it out. And then I go, well, our section's not here. We got to leave. So I asked some guy, I go, hey, how do we get to this place? He goes, oh, you got to leave, and then you got to go in this entrance. I'm like, oh, okay. So, yeah, it'll be a nice one that's all connected, so you don't got to worry about which entrance you go in.
And apparently you should be able to walk mostly all the way around the stadium. I know, a lot of stadiums we go to, you're able to, go around and, check out the sides and,
Yeah. So
get all the views. So.
Yeah, because they said you'll be able to go all the way around.
Mostly.
Except on
mostly.
the upper levels.
90%, yeah.
So, I mean, that's pretty normal. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, that'll be nice because that was kind of annoying. I'm like, I don't know where I'm supposed to enter.
Yeah. And then apparently when they do this, capacity will be cut back some, so they'll have to reassign seating and all that. So we'll see how that plays out going forward, too. So.
Yeah, well, that'll help keep the solid streak alive. Even though we're doing, if we can keep it alive doing all this shit, we should be able to keep it alive forever.
Yep. Solid streaks alive and well. All right, let's get into that capsule.
Okay, well, I think we have the same nugget because we mentioned it. But there was a very important volleyball game on Saturday. I don't know if you heard anything about it or watched any of it.
I actually watched a little bit of it. Now, I did. I was at Barb's.
His girlfriend.
My girlfriend. Well, turns out she had a family birthday party. Just real quick. And so her mom and her aunt were supposed to go, but they ended up not going. And so Barb's mom went over to spend time with her aunt. Well, then it turns out her son had decided to propose to his girlfriend that night, so she wasn't able to come back when she thought she was. So then she asked me if I could stay and, stay with Aunt Jean because Barb's mom wanted to go home. She's 84 and she doesn't like to be out in the dark. And I said, yeah, that's okay. So then I had to explain the whole thing to Aunt Jean because she kind of had an issue. She thought she was uninvited, and so I was trying to explain it to her. But anyway, so then I met up with Barb afterwards, and she went upstairs to change, so I pulled it up on my phone, was watching it. And then I heard something say about, we're going to extra points because it was the 5th set. And then Barb came down, so I started talking to her, because I didn't want to be rude and have my face on the phone. Well, so I missed the point where they called the in the net violation that John Cook had challenged. So the next thing I know, when I looked down, they were all celebrating and running around. I'm like, they scored 2 points that quick? So it took me a while to figure out what happened. But, yeah, it was exciting. I know my daughters were watching, and a lot of people in the state, it's become a volleyball state. I mean, it's big time. Well, when you win consistently, and like that, and you're a big-time program, people are going to be drawn to it. But, yeah, it was exciting. Volleyball is the big thing. You said, you went to the volleyball day, and people still talk about that, to now, even though that happened a couple months ago. So, yeah, it's big time here in Nebraska, and they, probably weren't the favorites. They had lost to Wisconsin, 10 straight times? Mm-hmm. So, and then they got down 2-1. You thought, well, this ain't looking so good. And even your sister said she kind of bailed on it. And then Emma called her back and said, they're going to the 5th set. Grace's like, what? So then she told me she came running downstairs and, excuse me.
That's the most Grace thing I've ever heard in my life.
And then they watched the rest of it. But, yeah, it was exciting. I mean, and, Wisconsin's a veteran-laden team, and Nebraska's starting 4 freshmen. So, but they will play again in Wisconsin, and I kind of not that I'm not a Husker fan in volleyball or whatever, But I expect Wisconsin to probably win that in 3 or 4, because, okay, Nebraska beat us. Now we're going to refocus. It's at our place. That's not going to happen again. And, there's a chance they could meet up in the tournament going forward. I mean, that's a long way away, but they're 2 of the favorites to win the national championship, I'd say. So.
Okay, yeah. Well, we didn't lay out the situation. It was number 1 Wisconsin against number 2 Nebraska. That's why it was a big deal. Mm-hmm. And tickets would go, standing room only was like $300.
Yes.
So if you wanted to go stand at the top and watch it. And so the point that I have as the nugget was that they set a record for the most watched volleyball broadcast across any network, and it had about 612,000 people watching it. So just talk about the sport of volleyball and how big it is, especially in Nebraska and around. Because I think it was the 4th time that it was the same conference that was number 1 and number 2 were facing each other. I think they said, and then it was like both were undefeated was the other thing. So it wasn't just number 1, number 2. It was like both 18-0 facing each other. So in the most electric, not to be biased, but it probably is the most electric atmosphere in volleyball. Because no one else is doing like what Nebraska's doing. Because they have their own sellout streak. We talk about the football streak. Volleyball's got a sellout streak too.
And they moved into a larger facility. They went from the Coliseum, now they're in the Devaney Center, so it's more capacity. So, yeah, it's impressive.
Yeah, so big deal in Nebraska here, especially because our football team's so bad too.
Yeah.
So the volleyball is carrying the torch for us.
Yep.
So, and then the other nugget was Adolis Garcia, and we already kind of touched on that.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I had a couple quick nuggets. The Padres, Bob Melvin, got permission from the Padres to pursue other opportunities. Well, he didn't take long. He's going to be the San Francisco Giants coach.
I did forget to write that down. I saw that.
He just jumped across the league and will be sitting on the other side of the benches next time those 2 face off. So, but San Diego committed a lot of money to the team this year and just didn't get the results. And maybe Bob felt like the Giants were had a better foundation of a team, and they had a better chance to win there. Bob's a good coach. He's been around for a long time, a lot of experience, and so and the Padres said, hey, go look if you want, and so he did. And then my last nugget, and interestingly enough, this could be a road trip for you and I. They've rescheduled the Nebraska-Cincinnati series, which was originally scheduled to be played in the COVID year and got delayed, and now they've rebooked it. And the Cincinnati home game has been moved to Indianapolis to the Lucas Oil Stadium.
I saw that in person when I saw the Bananas.
Yes, in 2025, and I'm thinking that might be a roadie for us because I like Indianapolis. I've only been through there once, but it seemed like a nice town. I drove right by the stadium, which was really cool. And that's a road game. We like to see the road games. I know we'd like to see division, but some years the schedule works out to where it's like we can't really travel or we've already seen those teams. So this might be a game we try to partake, and possibly could be 1 or 2 depending on the rest of the the schedule for that year. So excited. I think that's one I'm tempted to try to attend.
Cool.
And that'll be the home opener that year. So.
And then I have some breaking news. About. It involves one of my teams, too.
Uh-oh.
The Red Sox hired Craig Bedlow as their head of baseball operations.
Oh, they did. All right.
We were talking about that.
Former pitcher.
Because Kim Ng said, I'm not interested.
Yep.
And then they had a few other people say, we're not interested. And then, so we got Craig Bedlow. I remember him because he relieved for us. He was a lefty. Mm-hmm. So
yeah,
we'll see how he does. I think he was is he with the Cubs, I think, is what we said. I think he was with the Cubs. I'm not 100% sure. And then the Nuggets are going to beat the Lakers.
Yeah, the defending champs are by 14 with about a minute to go, and the Phillies are down 3-2 in the 6th. So there's your updates in sports, and let's go. Let's see the World Series, and everybody have a happy Halloween.